I think it's great. I think you should, because the NWA is a lot of pro wrestling history,
without a doubt.
And I think if you do stuff like I think Billy Corgan's on the right path with the NWA. I think if you continue doing this, you can the NWA will be relevant.
Yes,
it may not be like it was before, where it was like obviously like Nick Aldis is not the world champion,
right? He's not the world champion,
but he is a highly respected professional wrestler who holds a highly respected title, even if it is not like as highly respected as it was in its heyday.
Exactly. And they did a good thing where they did like the mat was the typical baby blue mat. It looked like they just had yellow duct tape for the NWA. The graphics were retro, which is awesome. That looked really good. But it was just everything else, like the belts and the ring entrance, and I was just like, can we figure something out here?
I almost feel like in a lot of ways he wants to marry the tradition of the NWA with the digital platforms of today, because their 10 Pounds of Gold series is really good.
Yes, it is,
and it's compelling, and like I enjoy it. It reminds me, I dig it. I dug it like up to the pop-up show. I mean, we watched the pop-up show live because we were like, hey man, this sounds pretty fucking cool. Any other thoughts on the new NWA?
I think just as long as they keep working with Ring of Honor, and I think if they maybe open their relationships with other people, I think it would work out a lot better.
I think they should open up some relationships with like Mexico and Japan.
So if they're working with Ring of Honor, who has a working relationship with CMLL, it would just make sense.
And New Japan.
And I was just saying, and go have that relationship, because they had New Japan wrestlers and they had CMLL wrestlers, so it worked out.
Maybe that's the start.
Yeah, and they had Jim Cornette on commentary, which...
Can y'all fucking believe this? I'm on fucking... Jim Cornette's on fucking... Well, goddamn!
But he's a fucking walking... just encyclopedia of wrestling, so...
Y'all know the one time Crack Cup, 1986? This is what... The Sting came out, like Luke came out... It sounded more like Jimmy Hart, I'm sorry. Like,
It's still good. You got the southern twang to it, so it worked out.
It's sometimes like when he gets excited he talks that fast, but most of the time it's more like, golly, I can't believe you.
These boys are gonna die.
He hit him with the chair. All right, well we could do Jim Cornette Jim Cornette impressions all day, but we have to talk about
double onions.
Something. We have to talk about a match that Jim Cornette probably fucking hates.
He probably does hate it.
The Money in the Bank ladder match,
which was actually the brainchild of the GOAT, Chris Jericho,
but was it really?
Well, it was him and...
Like, that's storyline. But what was it really, or was it...
Yeah, no, everything I've ever heard was him and the current SVP of Development for Television for $7 Productions, Brian Gewirtz, a.k.a. Rock's
He's a former writer, right?
Yes, he's a former writer, yes.
Yeah, I remember when I heard about this, because, again, just about the time I got back into wrestling, so I was like, okay, I'm into this. In fact, I think the first show that I went to when I was the Go Home show of Raw, that was at the Fort Worth Convention Center.
Yes.
And so we got to see, like, ladders were involved in the main event somehow between all of the competitors, and it was a fun show. But I was into it from go. I was like, oh, this sounds awesome.
Yep. So for those of you who do not know, Money in the Bank is a multi-man ladder match that the winner will climb the ladder, take the briefcase off the hitch, and then they have 1 year from when they won the contract to cash in for the World Heavyweight title.
Or ladies title.
Or ladies title, that's true. Back in 2017 is when the first time they had the women's Money in the Bank. So now there are 2 Money in the Banks. And Carmella actually now holds the record for holding the briefcase the longest. She held it 1 week longer than Edge did.
Edge. Speaking of Edge and the Money in the Bank, he won that first one.
He did.
Then held on to it for a fucking year.
280 days.
And then cashed it in the most beautiful way.
Loved it. Couldn't have been happier.
After Cena finished an Elimination Chamber match.
He's just
covered
in the corner.
blood.
Yeah, got the crimson mask on.
And I love the concern that Mr. McMahon has on his face when he comes out and he goes, everybody.
Raise the cage, damn it.
Yeah, like he's mad.
Yeah. Like, how do you not know we're about to have another match?
And so he's like, we have someone who's going to cash in their contract. I remember the place popped because this was like at the time where people were kind of getting sick of John Cena being champion. And the place, and also I had read that this is what should happen like an hour before the pay-per-view started. Someone was like, "Oh, this is how they should do it." And I remember telling you guys like before we watched the pay-per-view, and we were like, "Oh, it'd be so good, but they'll never do it."
I thought Sergio had read that.
One of us read it.
Okay,
I don't know. Like, but one of us, I thought I read it, but maybe he
could
read
be.
it.
I don't know.
We brought it up and we were like, "Oh, that'd be so good," but they don't ever do anything good. They fucking suck. And then they did it. So
we're like, "Oh, okay." So Kane has held it the shortest. He won it, cashed in less than an hour later, beat little Rey Mysterio, and became a champion.
The mayor of Knox, Tennessee,
has also been in the most Money in the Banks.
Really?
He has. And then Raw is the most popular show to cash it in on. Also, John Cena. This is a fun fact I love. John Cena, Damian Sandow, Baron Corbin, and Braun Strowman are the only people to cash in the Money in the Bank, but not win the title from their cash-in.
Did you say John Cena?
Twice. I'll say it again 3 times. John Cena cashed it in and did not win.
Okay.
Also, Edge, RVD, Dolph Ziggler, and Mr. Kennedy are the only people to have had to defend their contracts.
It seems like an awful lot, though.
I know. I don't even remember Edge, RV. I don't remember anybody else but Mr. Kennedy because he lost it. Also, Money in the Bank is the only event to have its own theme music. Because if you think about it, every other one kind of changes out depending on what's popular or whatever. This is the only one where it's the money, 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 money.
Oh, okay.
But it's not the yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Fun facts.
Did you know that freaking I don't know why that was not the way I meant to start that.
Okay.
I was just gonna talk about the one time the first person to cash it in at Wrestlemania.
Which I was there, which I screamed, "There is a God."
And I remember being very happy, but
Everybody
also
was.
like, God damn it, I had a ticket to this WrestleMania and I didn't go. And I could have seen what in my opinion is one of the best moments. Like,
that's one of the ultimate WrestleMania moments.
I agree completely. Like him just swinging that fucking like title around at the end of it. Ugh. He's also the first person to cash in while a championship match was in progress.
It's true.
So I don't know that they'd ever thought about that.
2010, it became its own pay-per-view. Every other time it had been part of WrestleMania, which I kind of was upset about because I was like, oh, fuck, I won't be able to see it on a regular basis anymore. And I haven't seen one live since.
I was about to say, I don't think I've seen one live since.
Because they don't come to Texas for that. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, they normally do like TLC here.
Right.
So we just get to
or
see
Night
like,
of Champions. Which
or
they
Hell
don't
in
do
a
anymore.
Cell. We only get to see Hell in a Cell matches. Ugh.
Apparently, Eric went to the Elimination Chamber when he was in Houston.
Really?
This last one, yeah.
We went and saw. We see stuff without him, so
That's
we can't
true,
really
good
be
point,
upset about that.
Well, he texted me. Well, we had been talking about it for like 2 weeks beforehand, and he was like, "No, I can't afford it. I can't go down," because I was also going down to San Antonio that weekend, and I was like, "Well, I could just pop over to Houston. It's like the same drive." And then he texted me on my way back that Sunday morning. He's like, "Hey, you want to go?" I was like, "No, motherfucker, I'm already on my way back." And I was like, he was like, "Okay." Then I found out at WrestleMania that he'd actually gone. I was like, "You dickhead."
So it became its own thing, which is cool. I think it's cool.
I think it's cool too,
especially now because they can have multiple.
Right? Because they had the one for Raw, one for SmackDown. Now they just have the one.
Yeah, when they were like, "Bring the brands," never mind.
Yeah,
and then they were like, "Bring the brand," never mind.
But now they have the second one, and it is a ladies' one, and I enjoy that very much. Although, however, the very first one, a man took down the briefcase.
And then they had to have a rematch, like
literally 2 days later.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, sorry, this was
sorry,
we have another one."
Yeah,
that was when it was SmackDown exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And Baron Buckin Corbin,
not a fan of him.
Lost in his cash-in. I'm not either. I don't like him at all.
He's got the best music. Has had both musics have been great. Great entrance. It's just too bad Baron Corbin comes out when music happens.
It's really bad. Alexa Bliss only held the contract for 2 hours and 50. Do you remember that? That one was awesome.
Yeah, because he interrupted.
Didn't she like come out and just like beat the shit out of her?
Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax. Nia was the champ.
I'm pretty sure that when that one happened, I like told my wife, I was like, "You have to watch the end of this match." I was like, "It's so good."
And then Dean Ambrose also cashed it in on the same night. That was the one night that all 3 Shield members had been World Heavyweight Champion.
Oh yeah,
because Roman came in as the champ, lost it to Seth. Boom! Immediately, Dean Ambrose comes down. Dirty Deeds, Dunzo, new champ.
That was impressive. That was a good one too.
Yes. We'll talk about that guy here later in the curtain
a little
call.
bit. Yeah. So what of your who's been your favorite winner to ever win?
It definitely wasn't the person who took the longest to take down the briefcase, which was Jack Swagger.
He won, right?
He won, but it took him forever to take the briefcase off. I want to say it's definitely. Maybe I want to say, it was Rob Van Dam, because I never in a million years thought they were going to give Rob Van Dam, let alone a chance to be champion, let alone the championship.
Yeah, that was really Like, I was very surprised by that, because who else was in that match?
That one was Matt Hardy, of course, Shelton Benjamin, because somebody's got to be.
Do you
the
need
spot
someone
guy.
to do the crazy spot? I'm your guy.
Ric Flair,
Flair,
Finley, and Bobby Lashley.
I don't remember
Bobby Lashley being in that match, but I guess he was.
I don't remember, I remember that one being very baffling, because I was like, well, it kind of seems like RVD could win it, but also, at this point, Ric Flair could win it. I don't know.
And, of course, I wanted Shelton Benjamin, because I had called a long time ago
that he was going to be a world champion, and that has not played
fruition.
out for you.
He's not retired yet, so...
I have also made a bet like that, and my guy is not even in wrestling anymore, so...
Actually, I think you've lost that one.
I did, because Cody
won a world championship. Yep. Only once, but he won it.
You win.
Actually, no, 2. He won the Ring of Honor one as well.
Yeah, and he won that one first.
Yeah,
so.
true.
I think my favorite was Punk, when Punk won, because
Which time?
the first time.
Okay.
Because when Punk won, I remember being like, well, I was there. Right?
Right.
So that was cool. But, I also remember being like, okay, cool. I'm pretty sure they're going to let him win the world title. Because he was one of those guys early on that I was a big fan of, and I was just like, man, they're never going to let him be the world champion.
Because he's just this indie darling, and no one
right,
likes
and Vince
him.
was always like, fuck those guys. And now he, those are his main stars. But,
yeah, look at your main roster minus Roman Reigns.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I was really excited about that. He was my favorite.
And then when Daniel Bryan cashed it in, nobody really expected that one either.
I agree. It was kind of the same vein. I was like, oh, cool. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I was not happy when Alberto Del Rio won. I have nothing against Alberto. He's a great athlete. I haven't heard the best things personality-wise.
I just don't really like Del Rio.
Yeah,
I've never been super impressed in the ring by him, and his attitude outside the ring bugs me. And
yes, him no-showing events, and somehow it's cool to book him other places. And then when Randy Orton won, I was like, really? Does he need it?
Man, no. Randy Orton was one of those people that Sheamus didn't need it when he won it. And then didn't he hold on to it for a long time?
161 days.
Ugh. Listen, fella.
I don't remember Roman Reigns being in that match, but apparently he was.
Oh.
It was only 4 years ago.
So yeah. Well, that's right. I remember Reigns won, and there was everyone was like, oh my God, this is so great. Oh my God, Sheamus kicked him in the face. I was like, ugh, Roman Reigns won. I was almost like, can Sheamus come kick this dude? Oh, he did. Great.
Oh, this works out. Yes. This all checks out.
Wow, that's crazy. So, at Survivor Series, when Sheamus cashed in, he beat Roman Reigns after Reigns beat Dean Ambrose to win the vacant title. And then when Dean Ambrose won, he beat Seth Rollins after Rollins had defeated Roman Reigns. So, this is a whole... that's...
Full circle.
Full circle.
But now, when Sheamus cashed it in on Reigns, there was something else going on in the company to where... Because then Triple H had to get involved in the storyline Royal Rumble. Was somebody on the way out, or was it an injury? Oh, that's right, because Seth... Okay, that's what it was. Seth had just had that knee injury, and that's why they had that match. Okay, yes. And then that's when the Sheamus and League of Nations against Roman Reigns storyline was happening.
Yes. The League of Nations was a terrible stable.
We brought that up in our archives in our worst stables.
It was so bad. I'm so unhappy they got a WrestleMania.
Great guys outside of it, not great in it.
Yeah, and